Okay.
Sowore, I said I built that road. I built this road. I built this primary school. I built that primary school. Sowore, what is your experience?
All right, Dr.
When politicians are talking, close your mouth.
Your records are here in Rivers State. I have a former governor of Rivers State here, Amaechi, who built a rail line that went nowhere. It is, you guys should be apologizing to the Nigerian people. I love one thing that Amaechi said. Apart from Sowore and Adebayo, the rest of us have been in government and we have failed. They have no business coming back.
The disagreement began when Sowore challenged politicians with previous experience in government to defend their records before asking Nigerians to trust them again. Sowore questioned the performance of politicians who had occupied important government positions and argued that Nigerians have the right to examine what they achieved while in office. Amaechi, who served as governor of Rivers State and later as Minister of Transportation, strongly pushed back against the criticism. He pointed to infrastructure projects associated with his years in government and argued that his record should be judged based on what was actually delivered. Amaechi referenced roads, schools, and railway projects while defending his experience in public office. He also challenged those questioning his record to examine the project themselves and assess their impact. The arguments became increasingly heated as both men defended their positions. Then came the moment that immediately grabbed attention. Amaechi turned towards Sowore and told him, "When politicians are talking, Sowore, close your mouth." That statement changed the atmosphere of the debate. It was no longer simply an exchange over policy. It has become a direct confrontation over political experience, credibility, and the right to question those who have previously governed. And that is where the deeper political argument begins. Amaechi's position is relatively straightforward. He believes experience in government matters. A politician who has governed a state or managed a major federal ministry has already faced the realities of public administration, budgeting, infrastructure development, security, and dealing with competing interests. From this perspective, political experience is not something that should simply be dismissed. Amaechi was essentially challenging his critics to examine his record before judging him. His argument was that achievements should speak louder than political rhetoric. Sowore represents a different political tradition. He has spent years challenging Nigeria's established political class and arguing that the country's problems cannot be solved by repeatedly recycling politicians who have already had opportunities to govern. His criticism is centered on accountability. If a politician has previously held public office, Sowore's argument is that Nigerians should ask what changed during that person's time in government. Did ordinary citizens become better off? Did infrastructure improve? Did corruption decline? Did security improve? Did government become more accountable? These are the kinds of questions that make political debates uncomfortable. And that is precisely why the confrontation at the NBA conference attracted so much attention. The argument was not simply about Amaechi and Sowore. It reflected a much larger disagreement within Nigerian politics. One side believes Nigeria needs experienced politicians who understand how government works. The other believes that experience without satisfactory results should not automatically qualify anyone for another opportunity. This tension is becoming particularly important as Nigeria approaches the 2027 general election. Political figures across the country are already positioning themselves, building alliances, and presenting themselves as alternatives. The NBA conference therefore provided more than a platform for professional discussion. It became a stage where competing political visions were placed directly against each other. Amaechi's defense of his record is particularly significant because his political career spans both state and federal governments. He served as the governor of Rivers State before becoming Minister of Transportation. That gives him a substantial record that supporters can point to. But it also means his decisions are open to public examination. And this is where the debate between experience and accountability becomes unavoidable. Experience can certainly be valuable, but experience does not automatically prove effectiveness. At the same time, criticism alone does not automatically prove that someone else can govern better. That is the difficult question Nigerian voters will have to confront. Should politicians be judged mainly by their experience? Should they be judged by measurable results? Or should both factors matter? The confrontation between Amaechi and Sowore illustrates the growing pressure on political figures to answer those questions. For Amaechi and his supporters, the message is clear. Don't dismiss people who have actually served in government without examining what they accomplished. For Sowore and his supporters, the argument is equally clear. Holding office is not enough. Politicians must be held accountable for what happened under their watch. And that disagreement is likely to become much louder as the 2027 election approaches. What happened at the NBA conference may therefore be remembered as more than a heated exchange. It could be an early preview of the political battles that will dominate Nigeria's national conversation in the months ahead. The most memorable line from the confrontation may have been Amaechi telling Sowore to close your mouth when politicians were talking. But underneath the dramatic statement was a much more serious question. Who has earned the right to speak about Nigeria's future? Is it the politician who has spent years inside government and can point to projects completed under his watch? Or is it the activist who argues that the political establishment itself must be challenged? There is no simple answer. But one thing is clear. Nigeria's political class will face increasingly tense scrutiny ahead of 2027. Politicians will be asked to defend their records. Activists will be challenged to demonstrate that the alternatives can work. And voters will have to separate political noise from actual performance. The Amaechi-Sowore clash may have lasted only moments, but the argument behind it is much bigger. It is an argument about experience. It is an argument about accountability. And ultimately, it is an argument about who Nigerians should trust with the future of the country. For more updates, stay with us on News Express. I am Cassie Tony.